Hi, my name is Allie and this is my friend Stella. If you pack your lunch every day, do you find that you're using a lot of plastic baggies and plastic wrap? Well, while disposable plastic can be the easiest method, it is not the most environmentally friendly. So, enter beeswax wraps. These can cover your sandwiches and other food and be a replacement for those plastic baggies.
The materials that you will need are beeswax. I prefer using pellets because they melt easier, 100% cotton fabric, scissors, an iron, parchment paper, an old towel, a marker, and measuring tape.
Today we're going to be turning this fabric into a sandwich bag. So the first thing you'll need to do is to lay out the fabric onto the table to cut it to the size that you want. You'll need a pair of scissors, and it is also helpful to have a measuring tape as well as a pen to mark how big you want it. I recommend having it about 14 inches by 14 inches to create a bag that can handle most sandwiches, but a little bigger or even a little smaller is probably fine.
After measuring your 14-inch box, I recommend making a reference point to guide cutting. Now you will cut out the fabric into a square. Don't worry about being perfect, you aren't being graded on this. If it doesn't quite look like a square, one easy fix is to fold it in half into 2 triangles and cut off the extra. Now it's time to add the beeswax. First, I recommend laying out an old towel or something that you don't mind getting wax on. Then you will lay down enough parchment paper for your square to fit on. Then add several spoonfuls of beeswax onto the fabric. Don't forget the edges. Then cover the fabric with parchment paper.
So this is the part that it would be good to have a parent or guardian nearby because you're going to be using an iron. You want to turn the iron to the hottest setting, that way you can melt the beeswax. What you'll do is you'll use the iron to slowly move back and forth over top of the parchment paper, making sure that you get them nice and hot, that way that they will melt. There's a couple different techniques you can play with, whether it's doing circles or side to side, but the goal is to ultimately make sure that it's all melted. Now, once you think it's all melted, you can check. By lifting up underneath the parchment paper, it'll be a little warm, so be careful. If you find a piece that maybe is missing a little bit of the wax, all you have to do is grab a little bit more of the beeswax, sprinkle it on top, close it again, use the iron, just melt it right into the fabric.
Now it's time to peel off the parchment paper. Be careful because it can be very warm.
Peel it off, really careful because it's hot, and you're going to shake it real good. Nice and gentle, back and forth. That way it dries all over. Nice.
It is easy to cut off any excess wax around the edges once it is dry. Now let's make a sandwich bag. First, fold your square into 2 triangles. Then fold one side a little more than halfway into the center, and do the same for the other. Tuck one of the smaller triangles into the gap of the other, and straighten all of the edges. You have created a pouch. Slip your sandwich inside and roll the fabric on the top to close the bag. Ta-da! Beeswax wraps can be used in many different ways. Now let's watch as Stella makes the rest of her lunch using beeswax wraps. First, making a pouch for her vegetables. Then she used the beeswax wrap to package up her dessert. Beeswax wraps can also be used to cover containers and hold leftover fruits and vegetables. After use cool water and soap to wash. Be sure not to use hot water or it might melt the beeswax.
Too often, plastic baggies are used once and then put into the trash, where it then can end up in the landfill and be for hundreds of years, or ultimately end up in the ocean and be a danger to sea life like Stella. So instead, we use beeswax wraps. These are a great alternative to plastic baggies because you can wash them and use them over and over again. Then, once you're done using them, you can even compost them. There are other ways that you can make and use beeswax wraps, but these are some of our favorites. We hope that you have fun using these ocean-friendly and stylish baggies in your lunch. Together we can make small changes that make a big difference in protecting our world's oceans.